Thanks for joining us here. We all know it's a tough day for our football club. As announced earlier, we will be parting ways with Simon Goodwin as a senior coach of our AFL program. These things are never easy for anyone involved. It's not a decision we, as a board and a club, have taken lightly. Before we get into questions, I want to take a moment and acknowledge Simon and the unbelievable journey he has been with the Melbourne Football Club over the past decade. First and foremost, Simon has achieved the ultimate success and took this club to its first AFL men's premiership in 57 years. He's the only one of 4 premiership coaches in the history of our great club, and one of only 4 people to have coached 200 games. Some of his stats: he's coached 203 games. In 2021, he was All-Australian coach. In 2021, he was the AFLCA Coach of the Year. In 2017, an AFL Hall of Fame inductee. Simon has built some incredible relationships over the journey among players, staff and supporters. And I know these will continue long into the future. On behalf of the entire club, I want to thank Simon, his wife Chris, and their family for everything they have given to Melbourne. We wish them nothing but the best for the future. While decisions like these are never easy, the board and I believe that now is the right time for a new voice to lead our AFL group and the program forward. I'd like to now open questions for both Simon and myself.
Brad, you just spent the last couple of minutes talking about Simon's record and his relationships with players. Can you dive into why you sacked him?
I think once we made the decision last night, out of respect to Simon and his family, I got straight on the phone to him. It's not easy when we made that decision. I said, mate, the board has come to a decision that I think I need to come over and have a chat. This has been a process, I think, it wasn't made within a couple of days. It's been a process that we've gone through with consultation with some key football people in our program that has been going on for 4 or 5 weeks. And, you know, once I got over there, I spoke to Simon and with Chip and Richo and Andrew, our director, we both went over and delivered the news to Simon. And that's how it played out.
Simon, what are your blindsided, Simon?
Oh, look, I was disappointed. There's no doubt about that. You know, but I certainly respect the board's decision. That's their right to make that decision. But I'm disappointed because I think we're a hell of a lot closer to turning our club and team back into a contender again than what people think. And I'm disappointed that I'm not able to work with this great bunch of players that I know that we've developed and spent a lot of time developing over time. And I'm disappointed I'm not going to be a part of that. But, you know, ultimately that's the board's decision.
So why 3 games to go? Why right now?
I think giving Simon the respect, once we make a decision, I think he needs to know. And last night we'd come to that decision, and literally straight out into a car I phoned him. I think for our program to go forward, once you make that decision with 3 games to go, we're looking forward to the future. And once you make it, this is not about Simon's coaching career. Simon can coach. Simon's got the energy and the fight. We just believe that the club was looking for a new voice and a new leader to take this group forward.
How did you form that decision as a board?
I think through a process, we spoke with Richo, Chip, and obviously Paul, with our CEO coming in. And ultimately, that's a board decision. A board came to a decision that it's the right time is now.
How have the players reacted?
I spoke to the playing group, you know, half an hour to an hour ago. They're obviously disappointed. I've been in their position. I was a player. It's tough. They would be hurting. You know, Simon's a premiership coach. He's a terrific person. They've got the utmost respect for their senior coach and a premiership coach of theirs. He's got great friendships and he'll continue with those friendships, I'm assuming. And I know the character that he is. But yeah, that would be hurting. You know, I was when I lost a senior coach, and I know how they're feeling.
Simon spoke late last week that you felt you and the board and the club were aligned on the direction. So how do you feel now sitting here?
Yeah, obviously I got that wrong. But clearly the club are taking a different approach, and as I said, I totally respect that decision. I've been fortunate to coach this club for 9 years. I worked with some wonderful players, some wonderful people, and it's been a great journey. It's something that I certainly don't take lightly. But, you know, obviously I'll be disappointed. You know, I think, you know, we've still got a lot more to offer. You know, we've obviously been to the top of the mountain once. We stayed up there in the top 4 for a couple of years post, which is a really tough thing to do. And right now we're in a little transition phase, and I certainly believe that we're a hell of a lot closer than what people think.
Sometimes.
In March, can I ask you, you said, we've got a beauty, players love him. So he's very smart, strategic, he's a deep thinker of the game, he's emotive. He said it annoys you that the industry pots Simon Goodwin. So what actually changed in the past 4 months?
Nothing's changed. Everything I said in March is correct. I think the industry as a whole hasn't respected Simon. And what I said in March is true. I think Simon hasn't got the respect he deserves as a premiership coach. Nothing's changed.
He's got a contract for next year.
And we as a board decided that we're looking for a new voice and a new leader. But what I said, I don't take back one thing in what I said to you in March, Jay.
So you offered him the chance to coach this weekend?
Yeah, I spoke to him last night about thinking about coaching for the last 3 games. And I respect Simon's decision about not wanting to do that. It would be tough. I asked, you know, I said to him, would you like to coach the last 3 games, but respect his decision.
So, Simon, you've spoken a lot this season about you've been sort of a mini reset. It's a new project. You're trying to freshen things up. I would have assumed that you thought this was a longish term project. So are you disappointed? You've said that already, but the fact that you haven't been able to see this out properly?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think, you know, any time you undertake some change, whether that be personnel or the way you play, you know, it's going to take time. You know, you're going to have challenges. And there's no doubt throughout this year, our performance has faced challenges. And I don't shy away from that. And some of those have been unacceptable, you know, as we saw a couple of weeks ago. But those challenges, you ride and you work through. And sometimes that can be really defining moments for your football team and your football club. And I thought the players, the way they responded last week, showed that, you know, there was a different mindset, there was a different approach, and I'm looking forward to the boys, and I'll sit from afar and watch them this week, and they have great pride in the way that they go about playing the Western Bulldogs this week.
Simon, how do you feel like you had the best chance to succeed this year? Did the club set you up with the right tools to be able to coach this club to the best of your ability?
Yeah, look, I felt like, you know, we had a good preparation, a good, you know, clear air into what we're trying to achieve. You know, clearly there's been challenges in the last 4 years as a football club, and we haven't shied away from that. But my job is to navigate those challenges, to lead a team through those challenges where they can perform to a high level. And that's what my job is tasked with. And that's what I'll always do, is to try and create a team that can perform to a really high level as quickly as possible. And there's no doubt we've been trying to get that in the last 12 months. The results haven't been there in recent times, but they're not far away.
What about the 4 presidents, 3 CEOs in recent years? How does that contribute to a stable environment or otherwise for you, Simon?
Oh, that's probably something you have to ask Brad.
Green?
Look, I think Simon's got this last 5 or 6 years. You look at his resilience through that period. He's a leader. He's a great coach. It's never easy when there's change. We don't shy away from that as a board. You have succession in place, but that's fine. We're a board to direct and govern the place, and to try and lead it. But Simon's been resilient through that whole period.
Brad, you said the industry hasn't respected Simon Goodwin enough, but you've let him go with 3 games remaining and a contract. What would you say to people who say the club hasn't respected Simon in this time?
All I say to them is that we as a board came to a decision that it's time for our club for a new voice and a new leader to take this group forward. It's nothing against Simon, as I said. We think Simon's a terrific coach. I hope he gets another job somewhere else. He's been in our program for 11 years. He's coached our senior team for 9. You know, he's just behind Neil in coaching our club in the games that he has. So there's nothing there that Simon can't coach. It's just about timing, and we feel to go forward, we just needed a new voice.
Simon, just on that, with the new voice, do you feel over recent times with all the challenges, have you had a sense that the playing group does need a new voice?
Not at all. You know, I work with these guys every day. You know, I lean into our leaders. They're as committed as anyone. And I think what you can see on a daily basis, if you walk into our environment, you would have seen the energy and their ability to want to get better. And that's normally a great test case for your environment, is to look at the players, look at how they go about their business, and they want to get better. And that's what I'm so proud about this group. I love these players. They've got a lot in front of them. I'm excited for them because of the way that they go about their work.
Was the board decision unanimous, Brad?
Yes.
Brett, did you weigh the fact that you're changing president, you're changing CEO at the end, and you're going to be changing coach? Virtually every senior leadership position will be changed, but that it projects the impression of a club in crisis.
Not at all. All those key posts, Simon's only been told a decision with the coach. Every other position's been consulted through this process. We're speaking to Steve, if you're talking about that, if we're in consultation with Paul. There's nothing that is unstable with our decision in making it. We keep moving forward. And, when you make these decisions, they're not easy. With all due respect to Simon, once you make them, that's why we felt we had to get straight on the phone last night and have a talk.
Brad,
Your legacy here is assured forever, like for all reasons you've been articulated. But just as a human, what are you going to miss? What are you going to miss the most?
I'm going to miss the players first and foremost. Like, I've got some amazing relationships with some guys that I've coached for an incredibly long time, and it's not just seeing them grow as players, but it's seeing them grow as people. I'm going to miss giving George Gawn some bag of lollies after every win we have. I'm going to miss seeing Melky. I've coached him since I was 17. Tommy Mack. I'm going to miss the people first and foremost, and probably what I won't miss is probably driving down to Casey.
These are powerful connections, though, right? Has it been emotional with some of those guys?
What was that, sorry?
These are powerful connections that you formed, a decade or more in Melky's case. Has it been emotional with some of those guys in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, look, I've had an enormous amount of messages and phone calls. I spoke to Gorney laying in bed at first sleeping for a while actually, 7:30 this morning. Gorney rang and we had a really long chat, about the journey, about his sadness for me not being here and being a part of it, and obviously there's a lot of sadness from me as well. But we'll sit down, have a coffee, have a beer, and relax and really, debrief what's been an incredible 9 years. I've loved coaching these guys. I love coaching these players. They've given their all for this football club, and that's something I'll cherish forever.
Any regrets, Simon? Any regrets? Would you do anything different if you had time again?
Oh, not at all. Obviously, as I said, I was very lucky to come to a club that was right down the bottom. And when I first came to the Melbourne Footy Club, everyone said that you're never going to achieve anything at the Melbourne Football Club. And I was really fortunate to be part of a group of people that built something really special that got us to the pinnacle. And as I said, not only getting us there, we're able to stay there for a couple of years post in the top four, which is really hard to do. And I've been blessed to work with so many good people. I wouldn't change anything. What we're going through now is a very natural progression of where you've got to go to as a footy club. And, I'm excited about my next challenge, my next chapter.
Brad, did that last 30 minutes against St Kilda cost Simon his job? If you had won that game, would he be still coaching?
No, that didn't have any...
Bloody Messiah, eh?
That didn't have anything with the outcome, no.
Not many coaches have had their time terminated after a win. How much did last night blindside you?
Well, I did mention that to Gorney this morning. I don't think any coach has been sacked up to have an 83-point win. Look, it didn't blindside me in terms of that. I was disappointed, clearly, because of all the reasons that I've spoken about. But as I said, I think we're a lot closer to getting back to where we want to be as a football club, quicker than what a lot of people think, and I think that's exciting for the club.
Brad's also spoken about your resilience over the last 4 years, but you'd say since early 2022, right? How do you reflect on this time when the premiership window at this club was wide open for another flag at the MCG, and here you are now?
Yeah, look, there was obviously a lot of challenge. I think it's been pretty well documented, the challenge that sat within that. But 22 and 23, we should never underestimate the ability for this team under challenge to get back to a top four position 2 years in running and give ourselves the best chance for success. And that's all we can do as a program, is to give yourself the best opportunity to create another premiership. And that's what we're here for, is to create premierships. So we got 3 years in a row where we gave ourselves a chance. We won one. And I'm sure these boys will be back in the top four soon.
How will it sit with you, Simon, being the drought breaker, the coach that was able to break the drought for Melbourne?
Oh, look, I find it a little bit embarrassing. Obviously, it's certainly not something that I obviously wanted to have success, but obviously when you get touted with that drought-breaking tag, because there's so many people that make up a good football club, and there's so many people that make up a good team, and I was just lucky enough to be part of that journey. So for me personally, I'm more indebted to the people that helped me, the Todd Vineys, the Josh Marnies, the Peter Jacksons that really laid the foundations for this footy club and built the stability for a 6-year period to put the pieces in place to have success. And they're the guys that should be credited the most with the success of winning that premiership.
Brad, how soon can we expect Melbourne to be challenging again, considering you don't think Simon's the right man to take the club to the job? How soon can we expect?
Look, I'm not going to sit here and speculate and speak about that why Simon. I'm just here today to respect Simon and those decisions. But over time, we'll get there. We still believe we've got a list that we should be playing finals. We believe as a board, but we don't shy away from that.
That's right. Has the club or anyone associated with the club, a third party, the direction of the club, spoken to any potential?
What do you mean by third party?
Or someone that you tell to go and speak to a candidate?
No.
No. So you haven't canvassed anyone else?
No.
Do you know what you need in a new coach, Brad?
No. We'll speak about that in the future. We only came to a decision about Simon, and I think that's pretty disrespectful when you make a decision. But yeah, they'll come next day or so.
Do you think it'll be your challenge to find a new coach, considering you're going to have quite a sizable payout that you'll have to look after next year as well?
We'll be okay.
Simon, what was the decision to not coach again this weekend?
Oh, it's just to give the players the clear air. I talked to our players about the team first mentality, and no one's bigger than the club or bigger than the team. And it just gives them a pathway forward to finish the year really strongly. I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted it to be about the players, the progress that they've had, and hopefully they can finish off the year really strongly.
Do you want to coach again?
Yeah, I'd love to coach again. I love coaching. I love the game. Right now, I need a little holiday, need a rest. I've been 30 straight years in this game. And obviously finishing up a little bit early gives that time for a little bit more rest. So I'll get away, spend some time with Chris and the kids and the family, and get on some holidays and take some time away.
You spoke about your family. Can you just touch on the support that they've given you whilst you've been in this role?
Oh, look, they've been incredible. Obviously, I've got 5 kids, and they ride every bump with you. They're at that age, especially, Eddie and Bella and Lily and Noah and Jake. They've pretty much ridden the whole way through the journey. And, Eddie was 5 when I first came to this footy club. He's 17, heading into year 12. And, he's a demon. He doesn't know who else he'd support, but he did mention that, geez, Dad, your old club Adelaide sitting on top of the ladder. I might get an easy win there.
So since 2021, since the flag, with all of the challenges, what would you say you've learned about footy since winning that premiership?
Oh, just how many things you need to get right as a footy club. You need stability, you need alignment, you need real consistency in your program, and the less challenges you have in that space, the better you are, and the more chance you've got of success. And that was the big reason why I came to Melbourne, because Peter Jackson implemented something that was going to be really stable, and that's what I loved about the footy club when I first arrived.
You've experienced the opposite of that in recent times. Have you known where to turn?
Yeah, look, obviously, as I said, stability is a really important piece to success, and that's something that I value incredibly high.
Someone okay? We haven't lost a player.
That's something I value incredibly high to create success, and I think every coach, that goes into a role like that needs it. And, obviously, I hope we get it here.
Last couple of things.
No worries. How much do you think not being under one roof, MCG, Amy Park, and being out of Casey has impacted your ability to be a successful club year on year and challenge for flags throughout the tenure?
Oh, look, without doubt, it's a challenge. Kelly O'Donnell's probably the longest serving person here, and he's been waiting since 1979. So hopefully Caulfield will get up and running soon, and everyone will be under one roof.
Right. Obviously some of these players have great close relationship with Simon. How confident do you feel in terms of player retention, having the players you need here to challenge for that?
Simon's built a relationship with these players, and it's a key player retention has been because of Simon a lot through this process. So his whole coaching tenure, the boys have stayed, they're signed. So, yeah, they're going to be disappointed. But we're a football club that's pretty strong moving forward, and I reckon this place is going somewhere, led by Max and Jack. So yeah, we don't feel that will change.
Brad, do you think this will be a popular decision among fans and members of the Melbourne Footy Club?
I'm not going to speculate. I said to them last week in a members letter that we're not happy where we are, but hopefully they respect the decision and respect Simon for the premiership coach that he is.
Thanks, Frank.
Have you as a board, with the instability in terms of positions, have you given Simon every chance to succeed in his time? Bearing in mind, most premiership coaches get retained for a reasonable amount of time, and there's 2 years or after that. Have you as a board, collectively, not you as a board, given him the best chance to succeed?
We think we have. Simon's been here for 9 years. Simon wouldn't be happy where the results have gone the last couple of years. And as I said in my members' letters over time period, we're all not happy where we are. We're always looking to get better. But it's unfortunate that we had to get to that decision. But out of due respect, Simon's a terrific coach. He had the energy, he had the fight. We're constantly communicating about that, and we just believe that the organisation and the club needed a new voice and a leader going forward.
Thanks, Brad.
Can I just say before I go, I just want to thank the supporters, the coaches, the players, the wider football community for the support that you've given me over 9 years. It's been a real ride. I'm looking forward to the next challenge, and just thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support. It's been terrific.